$2.7 million was awarded to a lady after she spilled hot, scalding coffee on herself in a McDonald's parking lot. The national news media outlets and even comedians ran with this story and used Liebeck as an example of frivolous litigation when in actuality, she was the victim the whole time. Let us jump into the Liebeck versus McDonald's restaurant case analysis. In 1954, Ray Kroc met the McDonald's brothers in San Bernardino, California, where he instantly fell in love with their business model. Quality over quantity with quick turnaround. In 1956, Ray Kroc came up with the best financial decision in McDonald's history. He decided that McDonald's should own the land in which franchisees have to build their restaurants on. So not only was they getting money from franchisees, but they were also acting as a landlord to these franchisees. In 1961, Ray Kroc bought out the McDonald's brothers and became the sole owner of McDonald's. By 1963, it was very clear who the McDonald's audience was, which were families, as they introduced the Ronald McDonald mascot. In 1967, they finally started to dabble in globalization when they opened their first McDonald's in Canada, which led to McDonald's being opened all around the world today. From 1988 to the present day, McDonald's still continues to be a fast food industry leader. From 1988 to 1996, revenue grew from $5.5 billion to approximately $11 billion. In 2018, they recorded a peak net working capital of $213.8 million. And as you can see from this chart, McDonald's is still the most valuable quick service restaurant worldwide by a landslide. Now let's get to the facts of the case. Stella Liebeck was the passenger in this vehicle. Her grandson was driving as they ordered a cup of coffee from McDonald's. As they received their cup of coffee, they instantly parked in the parking lot, where she then put the coffee between her legs so she could add sugar and creamer. Now I know most of you are wondering, why does she not just put the cup of coffee in a cup holder? Well, in 1992, most vehicles did not have cup holders. So, as she was proceeding to put the creamer and sugar, she ended up spilling on herself, which caused third-degree burns and for her to be rushed to the hospital immediately. Liebeck was then in the hospital for 8 days and had a recovery time of 3 weeks. At this time, Liebeck's medical bills began to pile on. She then reached out to McDonald's and asked if they could cover her medical expenses and also reduce their policy from 180 degrees to 190 degrees to what the National Institute of Health states coffee should be served to 125 to 150. This was Stella Liebeck's argument. She argued that the scalding temperatures of the coffee made it unsafe to drink, which obviously if it was going to burn her thigh in 3 seconds, it was going to burn her mouth as well. McDonald's coffee is more likely than others to cause serious burns. Going back to the previous slide, we stated that McDonald's had a policy to serve their coffee at 180 to 190 degrees. The National Health Institute stated that it should be served from 125 to 150. McDonald's knew of the risk and failed to sufficiently warn customers. McDonald's has 700 plus burn victims previously to Stella Liebeck and still did nothing to their policy. In McDonald's defense, they stated that they claimed they were unaware of the risk despite hundreds of burn-related injuries reported, which obviously they knew about the 700 people before. This is what really got the jury. McDonald's stated that the number of injuries reported did not correlate to the number of cups of coffee they sold annually, basically saying they did not care if 700 people got hurt when they were selling over billions a year, which really turned the jury into Liebeck's favor. This is what Liebeck had to prove in order for the jury to make McDonald's liable. Number one, the product must be in a defective condition when the defendant sells it. Obviously, 180 degree coffee should not be served. Number two, the defendant must normally be engaged in the business of selling that product. McDonald's sells billions of cups of coffee annually. They are well recognizable within the industry. Number three, the product must be unreasonably dangerous. They had 700 people prior to Stella tell them that their coffee was too hot, and they still did nothing. Number four, the plaintiff must incur physical harm to self or property by use of consumption of the product. Stella's medical records state that she was burned in less than 3 seconds. That does not even give you enough time to take off your pants or to take off anything that is wet from the scalding coffee. She was going to be burned. Number five, the defective condition must be the proximate cause of the injury. Obviously, 180 degree coffee will burn you. Number 6, the goods must not have been substantially changed from the time of purchase to the time the injury was sustained. Stella Liebeck and her grandson bought the coffee and immediately parked in the parking lot, which was from a 1 to 2 minute window when the injury happened. All of these things is what made McDonald's liable for Stella Liebeck's injuries. This is what the jury decided. The jury decided that Stella Liebeck should receive $2.7 million in punitive damages. They came up with this number because this is the amount of money that McDonald's made in 2 days from selling coffees. Now, the judge did later reduce that to $480,000. She also received $200,000 in compensatory damages, which the judge also reduced by 20%, stating that it was Liebeck's fault for 20% of the injury. The parties also reached a confidential settlement outside of the courtroom. Impact on the industry. This exposed many companies' lack of policy, not only McDonald's. Many other industries and corporations were looking in on this case as it was going on, and they did not want this to happen to them. So they were going through their policies, making changes, making sure everything they did was safe so they did not get sued. The one thing that McDonald's changed was they changed their policy from 180 to 125, but they also added a caution hot label on their coffee so that way consumers would immediately know when they look that it is hot. This case acted as a catapult for tort reform across multiple industries. Now, this case also shows you how huge corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations, how the media industries can twist the story and make people believe things that did not really happen. They made Stella Liebeck seem like she was just out to get frivolous litigation and just to get as much money as she can out of McDonald's, when in reality, she just wanted her medical bills paid and for them to change their policy, and McDonald's could not do that. So in the end, Stella Liebeck deserved every single penny she got, and McDonald's should never have to go through this again because they should learn from this past experience. Thank you.